Hey there, my name is Aloe, and this will be a commentated lore and history playthrough of the Night Elf starting zone, with a discussion on the Night Elf race and druidism in Azeroth while we play. There's so much lore and history in World of Warcraft, and it doesn't always come across as you run around. I plan on doing one for every race, and chose Night Elf first since they have a large amount of history written about them. To make this a bit more interesting, each character will have a bit of a personality. I'm not usually a role player in World of Warcraft, but I do play Dungeons & Dragons, and enjoy making quirky characters. So I think a bit of quirkiness will make our characters and the video more engaging. The videos are edited, so you won't have to watch me kill 10 boars and pick 10 flowers to finish the quests. Unless I'm using that time to talk about the lore, or if there is unique NPC dialogue during the quest progress, I'll just edit out the repeat tasks involved.
After years of imprisonment within the Emerald Nightmare, Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage has finally returned to the mortal world. Reunited with his love, Tyrande Whisperwind, Malfurion endeavors now to heal the corrupted world tree Teldrassil and rejuvenate the spirit of the Night Elf people. Yet as the great cataclysm shakes the boughs of their colossal tree, the Night Elves brace themselves against the coming storm. As war and destruction close in from all sides, it falls to Night Elves like you to stand strong and protect the enduring legacy of your people.
The introduction has a lot of terminology and names to start off with. Emerald Nightmare, Malfurion Stormrage, Tyrande Whisperwind, Corrupted World Tree Teldrassil, and Cataclysm. But before we get into the terms, let's meet our first character. Loreluna the Night Elf Druid. Loreluna is in love with nature, but to be honest, she's a little loony. Loony Luna, I love Harry Potter, has a very esteemed companion, the Terrible Turnip. She firmly believes her turnip is the descendant of every great plant ever planted. This tree we start on, Teldrassil, is Turnip's great-great-great-grandmother. She's pretty surprised most other Night Elves haven't seen the resemblance between the two, or any other important plant for that matter. Our initial desire to begin this quest of adventuring was to reunite Turnip with his family members. I'm also on the fence about reading all of the quest text to you guys or summarizing it for you. At the beginning, I'll try a bit of both, reading the important ones and summarizing the side quests. Most of the quests in the starting area are relevant, so there will be less summarizing at the start. Greetings, Loreluna. I am Ilthalain. My purpose in Shadowglen is to train young druids like you, to ensure that the balance of nature is maintained. The spring rains were particularly heavy this year, causing some of the forest's beasts to flourish, while others suffered. Unfortunately, the Night Saber numbers grew too large. They will devastate the other populations if they are not culled. Journey forth, young druid, and thin saber populations so that nature's harmony will be preserved. Now, the Night Elves have a huge timeline. I've created a timeline for us, and as we explore we'll fill in the time event bubbles. I'll put up the timeline at the beginning and the end of the video, so we can see our progress in filling it out. As we quest, you'll notice the events we learn about aren't in chronological order, and that is part of the difficulty when following the lore. This is why the timeline will be so helpful.
Ishnuala.
I'm sorry, Huntress. None of our new druids are ready. They still have much to learn. I fear time may not be on our side, Ilthalain. The battle may carry to Teldrassil itself if we do not act soon. We will leave you to your training, Ilthalain. This is your area of expertise. Study well, Loreluna. We may need you fighting by our side before the next moon fills. You seem to know what you're doing. Perhaps I can task you with something a little more important. As you may have well known, the corruption in Teldrassil was supposedly wiped away, yet something still lingers. The creatures have not calmed, and all manner of problems still plague us. I need you to deal with the Grelkin that have gathered to the west, and while you're there, I want you to search them for Felmos. This will help me determine from where this continuing corruption stems.
Can I assist you?
Vicious little Grell. They've been stealing from our food stores again. If you wouldn't mind lending a hand. They are sure to have my stolen bags within their camps to the west. I would be glad to reward you if you bring them back to me. This guy's name is Melithar Staghelm. I wonder if he's related to Vandrel Staghelm, the Archdruid. From the introduction's terminology, let's first start out with Corrupted World Tree Teldrassil. The name Teldrassil means Crown of the Earth, and it's a huge tree that supports the city of the Night Elves Darnassus, along with 2 rural villages, Shadowglen and Dolinar. The tree was planted in year 22, and when Loreluna starts her new life as an adventurer, the year is 28. That means this huge thing grew in less than 6 years. It took the might of the Elven Governing Council, the Circle of Ancients, and Archdruid Vandrel Staghelm to accomplish. As we've seen from our quests, though, something is wrong with the tree. The wildlife are going a little crazy, and it's our job to find out why. Everything should be good, though, now that Malfurion Stormrage is back. He was the Night Elf leader until he fell into a coma, and really is the strongest druid in the world. We'll see how much we learn about this mysterious coma he was in, and how exactly he woke up from it, from our time here in Teldrassil. If they don't give us a whole lot of information, I'll fill in the gaps. Your service to the creatures of Shadowglen is worthy of reward, Loreluna. You confirmed my fears, however. The Grelkin are still tainted by Felmos, despite Teldrassil's blessing. Something sinister remains within the tree. I can only hope that the gnarled pine tribe of Furbolgs are free of the corruption, or we are still in grave danger. I will look into this further and contact those who might be of aid. Thank you, Druid.
Ishnu Deliab.
Elune be praised, and you as well, young Druid. There are many young night elves in need of these, but I'd be more than happy to give you one of the bags as a reward. I'm sure it will come in handy.
I'm listening.
Perhaps you'd be willing to aid us in further pursuing the corruption haunting Shadowglen. Dentaria Silverglade, Priestess of the Moon, has offered to aid us. You should find her between the 2 pools just north of our great tree. Circle around the tree to reach her, and offer her any help that you can, young Druid. Our introduction also mentioned a cataclysm. This refers to the event that took place right before Loreluna decided to become an adventurer. A huge black dragon, the king of black dragons named Deathwing, burst through the ground and caused massive earthquakes and went on a rampage. Luckily, Teldrassil remains relatively unscathed, apart from the dockport of Rutherin village at the tree's base.
The loon be with you.
It is good that you have come. It seems your training progresses quickly. Our friend Ivron has fallen to poison from the nearby webwood spiders. I can tend to him to keep his state from deteriorating. but I need someone to gather an ingredient to prepare him an antidote. All around the ponds, you should find moon petal lilies. These flowers have great healing properties, and I can use them with the ingredients I already have to restore Ivron to better health. Would you gather them for me? There should be many just inside of here, near the water's
May the
edge.
stars guide you. Greetings.
Our dear friend isn't doing well. These will do perfectly, thank you, Loreluna. Your swiftness is appreciated. I must ask something more dangerous of you. Strange news has traveled to me through the whispering of the forest spirits. The mysterious woodland protector, Terendrella, has returned to Shadowglen again. The Dryad's presence has not been felt in the forests since before the blessing of Teldrassil. Something is surely amiss if she has journeyed back to this land. Seek out Terendrella in the Shadow Thread Cave to the north. It is dangerous, but we will be prepared with the antidote, just in case.
Elune light your path.
Ivron's poison is cured, but it will take some time for him to recover. Fun fact about Terendrella, she is one of the oldest NPCs in the game. Her character existed in the alpha stage of the game, and is still around today. During Classic, she gave 2 standard quests to starting players. During the Cataclysm, her role grew and she now provides 7 quests throughout our adventures here. She also is a daily quest giver near the Firelands invasion area. I've seen you've found me, Night Elf. Dentaria was wise to send you. I'd hoped never to return to Teldrassil for such a grim business. I'd hoped that its corruption had been wiped away completely. Something foul lingers. These spiders suffer much more deeply from the corruption than the other nearby wildlife. They are becoming a danger to your people and a danger to the forest. We must thin their numbers, but more importantly, we need to find the source of the corruption that plagues them. I will come with you and aid you in this. I really love Terendrella's character look. The butterflies in her hair, the one that's circling. She's pretty darn perky too. I also like that she has leg warmers on. Oh, I guess you could call those bracers. She's got bracers on all of her legs. I like leg warmers more. Stylish. Turnip really doesn't mind being in caves. I mean, he's a root after all, so dark and dangerous really don't scare him.
The great outdoors.
It's also pretty important to make sure you love all of the critters in the world. Oh, geez, there's a gap. There we go. Oh, where's the turnip? Where's Terrible Turnip? I don't see him anywhere. Terendrella's also gone. I hope he doesn't get lost in here. Ah, there he is. Ooh, did you see how fast he was? He could run a marathon. Oh, Terendrella has also found me. A few splices later, and
Is there trouble?
if these spiders are born with corruption in their veins, then their brood mother must be at the fruit of the evil. Let us make our way to the far north end of the cave and seek out Githias, the Vile. The answers we seek lie with her. This totem has been corrupting the eggs. It seems a greater threat looms. The gnarlpine remain tainted by something most foul. Githias and her brood were being corrupted by this totem. This is a furblog totem. Very troubling indeed. This means the gnarlpine are still a danger to these forests. We let our guard down too soon. I will pursue the trail of the gnarlpine and track this corruption to its source. If you ever encounter Arthurus Bearmantle in Dolinar, he knows intimately of the problems that plague this forest, and he can direct you on how to help further. I'm sure we will meet again with time. Perhaps you can aid me in dealing with this source of corruption once I locate it. For now, I will take you back to Dentaria so that you may finish your training. Thank you for all that you've done, Loreluna. You've returned. It's good to see you. It seems you have dealt with the source of much of the corruption in Shadowglen. Teldrassil still suffers and will need attention, but we can afford a moment or two for you to finish your training here in Shadowglen. As part of a ritual to complete your training here in Shadowglen, you must learn about our recent history. There is a task you must perform. Go to the Moonwell, to our northeast, and retrieve a vial of its water. While there, you will witness a glimpse of our magics and learn of our past. When you are done, bring the water back to me, and I will direct you further. Turnip really loves walking off the beaten path. He can have his little roots dig into the dirt. He has a very large nutrient palette. Much has changed for our people since the Battle of Mount Hyjal. Nordrassil lies a pale shadow of what it once was. Its power used to defeat Archimonde and drive back the Burning Legion. Our immortality, the very essence of our beings, was lost. The betrayer was freed from his prison, and Shando Stormrage disappeared into the Emerald Dream. A dark time for all. So we get a ton of information from this Moonwell, and it's gonna fill in quite a few bubbles on our timeline, which we'll be able to see at the end of this session. The information that this Moonwell gives us are the events that happen at the climax of Warcraft 3. It covers the second Burning Legion invasion of Azeroth. In order to defeat them, we had to use all of our power and Nordrassil, our world tree, in order to destroy them. This sacrificed the Night Elves' immortality. The Moonwell also mentions someone named the Betrayer. Those that have played World of Warcraft, most people know that that is Illidan Stormrage. We'll talk a little bit more about him later.
What brings you here?
Our recent history is fraught with strife and violence. There is still much with which we must come to terms. Well done, Loreluna. You have one task left for you before you depart Shadowglen for the open wilds of Teldrassil. Tenarin Stormgrip oversees all that happens in this glade. He presides at the top of Aldrassil. If you look to your south, you will see the underside of the ramp that leads up to him. Ascend this ramp and complete your training. It was wonderful to have met you, Loreluna. I swell with pride knowing that among young night elves, there are some so selfless, full of life as you are. You will do great things for our people. You will do great things for this world, until we meet again. Really love these blue flower lights they've got. I see these floating orbs around. Those are wisps. We'll talk more about those later. Ooh, let's eavesdrop. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful to have Shando's Storm Rage back, but this is all really suspicious. What happened to Fandral? Shh, someone's here. Looks like they're not so interested in talking about that while I'm here.
What brings you here?
The Moonwells hold the waters of the Well of Eternity, the ancient source of magic that has wrought so many horrors upon our world. The Druids take advantage of its properties. The Sentinels revere the wells as shrines to Elune, and now even the returning Highborn look to the wells longingly. So you have heard the first part of the aftermath of the Battle of Mount Hyjal. There is much more for you to learn, and the task you have begun here will continue through the rest of your journey through Teldrassil and into Darnassus. While there is more I could speak to you of the Moonwells and of Teldrassil, I must send you along. Corithras Moonrage will be expecting you. I have poured the vial of water you brought to me into this vessel to bring to him. Seek out Corithras. You will find him at the Moonwell in Dolinar. Follow the road south from Aldrassil out of Shadowglen, and continue following the cobblestones as the road turns west. Mind you stay on the road though, Loreluna. There are dangerous beasts in the forest of late.
Farewell.
Take with you the blessing of the wind's embrace. May it make your descent from Aldrassil more direct. That means we get to jump off the ledge. If you jump off the ledge from the very top and just float all the way down, you get an achievement called Going Down. Before we leave Shadowglen, let's take a cute little tour of our building here and talk a little bit about the Night Elf leadership and why it's in turmoil. So, Malfurion Stormrage, leader of the Night Elves, gets stuck in a place called the Emerald Dream, and they can't wake him up. Basically a coma. So with him out, a new leader needs to step up. Tyrande is a great leader, but she's also the priestess of the moon and has a lot of responsibilities. Fandral Staghelm rises to take Malfurion's place as leader of the Druids and the Night Elf people. Fandral and Malfurion didn't always see eye to eye, so when Fandral takes over, he does a few things that Malfurion naysayed. Growing Teldrassil, our questing area, was one of those things. But now that Malfurion is back from the Emerald Dream, or better term would be Emerald Nightmare, what happens with the leadership? From the conversation we eavesdropped on, it sounds like Fandral just went missing. This is the druid trainer, and he gives us a little tidbit of lore. Welcome, my sister. You are here to train. Then I would be delighted to train you. There will be a time soon when the call of the Emerald Dream will take hold of you. You will hibernate for many years and walk amongst the purest of forms.
May the stars
It is there and then that your ultimate training will take place. If I end up going to the Emerald Dream, I really hope Terrible Turnip can come with me. Nothing too exciting up here, but I really like the lodge style that they have. Very open air, no windows. Alright, and we are heading up our path. One last quest. He just asks us to deliver a package to somebody in Dolinar. This will be the end of our video. I'll go ahead and throw up our timeline as well. We can take a look at all the things that we completed. We'll start at the beginning, so Primals rule Azeroth at the beginning. There's technically more history before that, but that's where we're going to start before the Night Elf race. While we haven't learned about it, I also added the War of Ancients because it is the first time we get a really solid date. Midas 10,000 years. We'll talk more about what the War of Ancients is when we actually encounter some elements of it in-game. We then move on to our Dark Portal. That's the next one that I kind of put in there for free because it is the marker of when the year dates transition from negative to a positive. Dark Portal is year 0. So what we officially learned in this playthrough was that Illidan, also known as the Betrayer, was freed around the time of the Battle of Mount Hyjal. After our wonderful tree Nordrassil was blown up during that battle, Malfurion then went into a coma. Vandrel Staghelm planted Teldrassil, the tree we're standing on now. That happened in year 22. 6 years later, here we are questing. Malfurion awakes right before the Cataclysm. You can see we have a lot of empty bubbles still to fill out, so we have plenty more of adventure to come. So until next time, Loreluna and Terrible Turnip are signing out.